Hello everyone and welcome to Making the Makers. In this week's video we're going to be making LeatherHub's small skull. This pattern is one of 4 included in the same set. So, as always, the first step is to cut out the paper pattern. Let's get to it. Alright, now that the pattern's cut out, our next step is to grab the leather, get the pattern taped down, punch the holes, cut out the pattern, and then start sewing. As mentioned previously, this is one skull of 4 in this LeatherHub pattern. I've went ahead and laid all 4 skulls out because I'm going to be making all 4 of them in upcoming videos. Be sure to subscribe to check them out. After the punching comes cutting out the pattern. I gotta say, I really felt like this pattern went a long way in improving my leather cutting skills, because the little detailed work on the sides of the skull and around the teeth of the skull really taught me a lot. For this pattern, I used EcoFlow's Sunshine Yellow. Don't worry, in a later step, I'm going to darken this dye. Alright, now while it's still damp, I'm putting the pattern back on top of it. And I'm going to use my stylus to mark all of these lines as soon as I find. Alright, I'm going to let this dry and we will be back later on in the video. Alright, so now that the dye is dry, I'm going to apply some candle wax from a tea light candle to the entire surface. And then I will be using my felt foam burnisher to heat the leather, apply friction, melt the wax, and we're going to get a much darker look. Alright, after completely tearing my office apart, I found where my swivel knife is. I put it back in the case where it lives. Why would I check there for it? Okay, all I'm going to do now is trace these teeth and these lines with the swivel knife. When this gets stitched together, all of those are going to open up. And at that point, I'm going to put a darker dye in these cut marks. Alright, This is a glass syringe hypodermic needle. I'm going to use it to get dye into these gaps. See, part of the reason I did this after the waxing is to reduce the amount in which it can bleed over. But I'm not too worried about that at the moment, because I'm not even going to give this time to dry before I do the next waxing buffing. Alright, now just for the sake of completeness, I will be dyeing the edges and the back. Alright, well, the next time you see this one, we're going to start stitching it together. See you then. Hey guys, it's the middle of the work week and I've decided to do some stitching in the middle of the night. So this is what we've got going on. This is the small skull that I've been working on. We're going to stitch small side, medium side, large side. And at the same time, I'm going to have this section moist. Hello, kitty. Can I help you? As soon as I start talking to the camera, you demand attention. We're going to keep the bridge of the nose moist, just to, like, kind of wet form it, give it that skull shape. I'll bring you back in as I finish different sections of it. We'll see you in a bit. Alright, I've only got the main seam still to do. I'm going to turn these cups back inside out. Difficult to do with a single hand. And I'm going to stitch about half of this seam. You know, just to the very top of the skull, and then we'll pop the whole thing back right side out and finish stitching. Alright everyone, thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Making the Makers on the Crosscut Crafters channel. My name is Christopher and I've been your presenter. This has been the Small Skull by LeatherHub. Be sure to subscribe to check out the other 3 skulls in this collection.